going to be going through one of those other 10 rolls that I showed you. And after I ended the last video, I actually realized that there were 11 rolls in the box. I don't know if the seller threw in an extra or what the deal is there. Maybe I didn't read the listing right. But there's in fact 11 other rolls to go through. And as you can see on this one, we have a reverse ender. And on this side, I can't really tell through the wrapper, but I believe it's a 1912. So let's get right into it. Let's just lay them all out right here. Already I can see there's actually a dime in this roll too. I can see it right there. See the edges. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Alrighty, let's see. Who's first? This one. We have a 1958 out of Denver. The 1958 out of Denver has 800 million. So not a very rare mintage, but it does look very pretty. Next we have a 1936 out of Philadelphia. The 1936 Philadelphia has 309 million, but it does have a double die. Not this one specifically, but there is a double die variety of the 1936 Philadelphia, according to my red book. And I do not know where, but I do not see any doubling on here. So we're going to take that as not a double die. Next we have 1935 Philadelphia, 245 million. And next, a 1945 Denver, which is 266 million. Next we have a 1944 Denver. The 1944 Denver, 430 million. A lot of these are going to be upgrades or coins that I did not previously have for my book. So I'm excited after the video to put them in my book. Now we have a 1912, I believe. This is the ender I was talking about. See how very faint it is, actually. Yeah, that is a 1912. That is a 1912 out of Philadelphia, which is 68 million. She's pretty worn though. Very smooth, not much detail left. Next is a 1951 out of Philly. The 1951 Philadelphia, 284 million. 284 million. Next contender is a 1945 out of San Francisco, which is 181 million. These rolls must be from somewhere close to San Francisco because there's a lot of S mints compared to even coins nowadays in circulation that I see. So it's always nice to find a lot of S mints. Next we have a 1937 S, like I was saying. The 1937 S, 34 million. That is the lowest mintage so far, and I'm pretty sure that is an upgrade in my book. 1937S. Let's look at the back. Sorry, the reverse. Not bad. Next is a 1949 San Francisco. 1949S. 64,290,000. Next we have the 1954 out of Philadelphia. 71 million. And it is a 1944S. I think we just had one of those, which is 282 million. Not bad. It's nice to find a lot of S mint marks. We're getting to those steel pennies. What is this? 1955 out of Denver. The 1955 Denver is 563 million. Now we are to the steel cent. What mint mark will it be? Or maybe it could be a 1944. Never know. Nope, 1943 Philly, which has 684 million. Not in bad shape though. 1943 Philadelphia steel cent. It's always exciting to get a steel cent. And now we have, what are you? A 1929 San Francisco, which is 50 million. Not bad. She's pretty worn, but I've seen worse. Another steel cent. Let's hope for a 43S, or maybe even a 44. It's a 1943 something. I think that is just corrosion. It is a 1943 out of Philadelphia, which is the 684 million. We'll add that to our 1943 Philadelphia collection we've got going on here. And a 1958 out of Denver, which has 800 million. This roll not proving to be as full of key dates as the last, but since I bought the last one individually, the seller must have known that there was not that many key dates in these, which is why they offered up a lot of 10 instead of the individual. 1919 out of Denver, that's an older one. 1919 Denver is 57 million. Not bad. Next is a 1939S. I believe we already pulled one of these out. 1939 San Francisco's 52 million. Not bad. Next is a 1942 Philadelphia, which is 657 million. 657 million. Makes you wonder, where did all these pennies go? They made so many. They're just gone. Are they lost in the ground? I don't know. Next one is a 1957 Denver. The 1957 Denver, 1,051 million. Very common date in wheat cents, I guess. Next we have a 1951 San Francisco. The 1951 San Francisco has 136 million. 136 million. And we have a 1944 out of San Francisco, 282 million. And this one looks pretty worn. When I move my finger, let's see what it is. A 1925 1925 out of Philadelphia. The 1925 Philadelphia. This is an older one. 1925 Philly, 139 million. Next one will be a 1929 Philadelphia. The 1929, 185 million, the year of the great stock market crash. We have a 1944 Philadelphia. The 1944 Philadelphia is 1.4 billion. It's a lot of pennies. Not by today's standards, but for the wheat cents, that's very high. Next, we have the 1925 out of Denver. The 1925 Denver, 22 million. That is the most key date we have found in this roll thus far. Sorry, had a hiccup there. The most key date thus far, the 1925 out of Denver. A 1945S. The 1945 out of San Francisco is 181 million minted. Next, we have the 1953 San Francisco, which is 181 million. Next is a 1944 San Francisco, which is 282 million again. We're getting to that mercury dime, at least I assume it's a mercury dime. In the middle there. We gotta be patient though. I wanna just grab it. But I gotta get through the roll. If I do the best part first, you guys are all gonna click off the video, and I won't get to show the rest of the finds. Not that this roll's been exciting as the last one, but I'm glad you're here. If you've made it this far. The 1940S. The 1940S has 112 million. Wait. 1940S. Yes, 112 million. Next, we move on to a 1955 out of San Francisco. The 1955 San Francisco has 44 million. That is a more rare one than typical from this roll. I believe I got a uncirculated one from the last roll, or very close to it. So this will not be an upgrade in my book, but it's less than 50 million. I will take that. Next, we have a 1935 San Francisco. The 1935 San Francisco has 38 million. That's less than 50 million. I will take that for sure. Next in line is a 1945 San Francisco, There's been quite a few 1945 San Francisco's at 181 million, but I will take it. Next is the 1952 San Francisco, which has 137 million. A 1949 San Francisco, 64 million. I do not believe I have one of these, so I will take that for sure. Oh, the Mercury Dime's next. After this, 1947 out of San Francisco, 99 million. Let's get to that dime. What year are you? It's another 1943. Let's see if it is an S. We found a 1943 in the last video, and this is a 1943 S, same as the last video. I will definitely take that. I will never say no to silver. Next in line for the pennies is a 1945 out of San Francisco. 181 million. A 1953 out of San Francisco has 181 million. Seems like I've been saying that number a lot. 181 million. What's this one? 181 million maybe? A 1950 S. 118 million. So you just mix the numbers around a little bit. It's a little ironic. Next, we have a 1941 out of Philadelphia. The 1941 Philadelphia, 887 million. Oh, we got an Indian head. What year? It is a 1904 Indian head. The 1904 Indian head, 61 million. It's always nice to find an Indian head. You don't see them very often. Not that this one is the lowest mintage, but I will definitely keep that. Next, we have a 1935 Philadelphia, which has $245 million. I see another Indian head in that pile. You guys see it? That slightly darker one. We'll get there. Next is a 1957 out of Denver. 1957 Denver, 1,051,000,000. Well, there it is. Well, no, this is a wheat penny. Getting ahead of myself. A 1940S, a very crusty 1940S, which I mistakenly thought was the Indian head. The 1940S has 112 million. Next, the 1954 out of San Francisco, 96 million. There's the Indian head. Let's get under the scope just to be sure. This was an older one. Here we have an 1892 Indian head penny. The 1892, 37 million. That's almost 50. That's more than 50 million less than the last one we found. This, I will definitely take that. 1892 Indian head. Next, we have a 1937 out of San Francisco. Wheat penny again. 1937 San Francisco, 34 million. That's less than 50 million. I will definitely take that. Who's the next contestant? Oh, it's Abraham Lincoln. Who would have thought? Oh, the 1920 out of Philadelphia. A 1920 Philadelphia has 310 million. This one is pretty smooth. Imagine how many hands have touched this. A lot. Wonder how many loaves of bread this has bought, or gallons of milk. Something fun to think about this. Probably in somebody's coffee can or whatever they had back in the Great Depression, just in case they got into some even harder times. I think that's fascinating. This penny was there. Only 3 more, guys. We have a 1940 San Francisco. That's 112 million. It's got some crud on the back. Second to last one is a 1934 out of Philadelphia. The 1934 Philadelphia, 219 million. Last one. This is probably a 1909 SVDB. I can feel it. What is it? It's a 1955 Philly. The 1955 Philadelphia, as I've probably said already, the 1955 Philadelphia, 330 million. So, I guess the best finds from the day were the more key date wheat pennies. I'm not going to go through them since I went over the mintage while I was going through them. And then we have the 1943 San Francisco Mercury dime. It's always nice to find silver. And we have the 1892 Indian head penny. And along with the 1892 Indian head penny, we also have the 1904 Indian head penny. We got 2 steel cents. We have a 1943 Philadelphia and another 1943 Philadelphia. We also got this, what looks to be uncirculated 1958 out of Denver. But the 1958 Denver has 800 million, so it's not that much of a key date, but it's in great shape, so I will definitely keep that. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm trying to get better with every video. If you suffered through this whole thing, just know that I appreciate your view, and check back for the other 9 rolls. Thanks for watching.